You. I was told to imagine everyone naked, but my dad's right there, and a Holy Cross priest is right there, so I don't know if that's the best strategy. Anyways, I'd like everyone to start off by looking to the person to your right and the person to your left. And I'd like for you to picture a dinner table. Ham in the middle, beautiful macaroni and cheese, and a whole bunch of other wonderful entrees. My life has not unfolded along typical Catholic notions of family. I was born and raised between 3 gay parents, 2 gay dads, and a single lesbian mom of 3. The most poignant image of my childhood, though, was my grandmother's table during Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. Her giant wooden dinner table was joined by seemingly endless rows of folding tables and chairs, squeezing 50 people around the table in basically a double wide, sitting kids all over the bar and in the living room. My grandma immigrated from Mexico when she was just 5 years old and brought with her both a certain dogmatism and a deep love for community. I remember growing up Christmas dinners where I would overhear my grandfather and uncle talking about gay people in derogatory ways. But then they'd easily welcome me and my dad's around the table with open arms and so much love. The table included just about everyone some might consider antithetical to Catholicism. My dad, one of them, was a drug addict. My uncle, who spent time in prison. My aunt, who had multiple children out of wedlock, and a whole cluster of differences. Around the table, though, my dad would find himself sitting next to his ex-stepmother's ex-husband's adoptive wife's son, who he would describe as one of the most lovely people you could ever meet. And I think that's what Notre Dame is to me. Everyone around the table, everyone invited. It might not always be perfect, but everyone is welcome. You can see it in the families, the faces, the friends that are here today. To your left and your right, a cocoon of relatives and chosen family. I originally came to college pretty hesitant about the concept of residential life. Single-sex dorms with sex assigned at birth, genders, sounded like fraternity with training wheels. My random roommate was great. I was the first gay person he had ever met. Very different experiences. And it seems like everyone in the dorm had the perfect mom, dad, picket white fence, a ton of siblings. And it was amazing, but I was really nervous. The first few weeks we were blindfolded, all the freshman guys, taken to a giant field, and there was a huge bonfire in the middle. And then out of all of the trees, out of nowhere, came 200 guys, shirtless, covered in paint, and basically tackling us. In my first 3 years, I somewhat avoided my dorm. Beyond sleeping, I didn't spend any time there. I was afraid that I wouldn't be accepted or allowed to be who I am. So I decided not to invest a lot of time in it. Instead, I spent time running around South Bend. As Dom said, I would spend a lot of time elsewhere. This year, I decided I really wanted to be a residential assistant, in part because I was searching for the same grounded feeling that I felt around that table. With so many mentors and a sense of community. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, what if my freshman year thesis is right, and these guys won't accept me? Through the past 9 months, I've been proven wrong in a lot of ways, and right. It's been a total mishmash of positive and negative experiences, around the dinner table. But for the most part, much like Eamon was just saying, people will surprise you. Liminality is this type of existence between realities, truths, or identities. It comes from the Latin word limen, or threshold. Thus, it's this type of living in the threshold. Within these liminal spaces, it often feels impossible to make anybody happy. In her 2016 book, The Argonauts, Maggie Nelson wrote, quote, "Poor marriage. Off we went to kill it. Unforgivable, or reinforce it, unforgivable." Queerness is a concept that lives between truths, between traditional institutions and queer imaginations, which is also what Notre Dame has been to a lot of us, existing in tension with our own existence in the physical space around us. To say that I and many queer people have a difficult relationship with Notre Dame would be an understatement. From the off-the-cuff comments in the dining hall to a feeling of lack of support from certain cornerstones of other students' Notre Dame experiences, it can sometimes feel pretty isolating. And I think that's a reality that's pretty self-evident in this room, and the fact that there's a lot of people who are not here. Whether it's because of family tensions, their own internal lives, or questions of safety, at this point in their lives, some of our community members do not feel comfortable enough to come out yet. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about your 4 years here, but I do want to tell you how we might be able to use the unique experience of queerness here in this place to build a better world around us. The gift of being queer at Notre Dame is the ability to unwind forms of spiritual and moral blindness. No matter your faith traditions, that so often plague the realms of political and religious thought. Kind of like what Eamon was saying with polarization. And many can possess this form of blindness. And it's a unique gift to be able to live in the threshold, in between these truths, and to be able to imagine a way outside of those binaries. I think a lot of people desire to fit in, and I have a lot, and I'm sure many of you and your families have as well. But I hope that you recognize that liminality is a superpower. It can help you be more like Jesus or whatever sort of figure you look up to. It gives you the ability to step into another person's shoes that you could not even imagine knowing or living like. And so I hope that we might be able to use those gifts to seek justice and be with the communities around us.